First up tonight, refugee advocates are calling for the Manus Island Detention Centre to be closed down after a week of unrest at the facility that now appears to have ended. Green Senator Sarah Hanson-Young had this tweet: "Manus exists to be as harsh as possible to refugees, to send a message to others." She writes, "This is the human cost. The government can't blame anyone but themselves." While the group Students Thinking Outside Borders posted this: "We stand in solidarity with the 700 asylum seekers protesting and on hunger strike on Manus Island." During the protests, some detainees barricaded themselves inside a compound. Earlier, the Immigration Minister Peter Dutton criticised what he called aggressive detainees, as the opposition leader Bill Shorten called for the government to be more transparent.
The reports there are very troubling now, and whatever one's perspective about these matters, I think that all Australians are unhappy that there's a culture of secrecy. These people are directly or indirectly in the care of Australia, and the government just needs to come clean with what is happening.
Well, this morning, the Foreign Minister, Julie Bishop, spoke about the events on Manus Island.
It is a volatile situation because these people clearly don't want to accept the safe haven that's being offered to them. However, this kind of behaviour will not be rewarded with a visa to Australia.
Well, Julie Bishop appeared in that interview wearing one pearl earring, and the Foreign Minister has turned to Twitter to help find the missing piece. She had this message: "Hi Twitter, I lost an earring in Martin Place today. If found, grateful." No word yet on whether the appeal has been successful. The editor of Charlie Hebdo is defending the front cover of its latest edition as protests spread across Niger. Demonstrators gathered for a third day against the publication of a Prophet Muhammad cartoon on the cover of the French satirical magazine. The riots were sparked after Niger's president attended last week's unity rally in Paris. This as the editor of Charlie Hebdo appears on US television to defend the newspaper's content.
Every time that we draw a cartoon of Mohammed, every time that we draw a cartoon of a prophet, every time that we draw a cartoon of God, we defend the freedom of religion. We declare that God must not be a political or public figure. He must be a private figure. We defend the freedom of religion. Yes, it's also the freedom of speech, but it is the freedom of religion.
Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko has vowed to retake control of the eastern regions of the country from pro-Russian rebels. He spoke at a rally in Kiev as a battle raged around the airport at Donetsk. After days of shelling, Ukrainian troops recaptured almost all of the airport that they'd lost to separatists in recent weeks. The UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon has weighed in on the conflict. There was this tweet from the UN. The UN Secretary-General is alarmed by the airport fighting and urges resumption of genuine peace process. A lava flow on Hawaii's Big Island continues to advance towards the town of Pahoa. This is the latest video to be supplied by the county of Hawaii. It says the Puna lava flow has moved ahead on its northern edge, though it is stalled on its original front and in the south. The north side has advanced 64 metres in a couple of days and is approaching the police and fire stations in Pahoa. Officials say all current activity doesn't pose an immediate threat to communities. Patients in the US are turning to healthcare apps to avoid lengthy waits to see a GP. Many centres are adopting online scheduling, allowing people with non-life-threatening conditions to organise visits to see the doctor. They allow users to check in for estimated treatment times.
The average wait time to see a doctor in the United States is 18.5 days, and the most typical ZocDoc patient sees a doctor within 24 hours. So being able to literally shorten that wait time down from weeks into hours is the #1 benefit that people get.
Users appear to approve of the online booking system.
At the end of the day, it was absolutely worth it because I spent far less time in the car going out there than I would have spent sitting in the waiting room.
Well, are your Facebook feeds full of people posting their first profile pictures? Queensland Police is getting in on the action. It shared this image. Here's our first profile picture, and it adds 5 years makes a big difference. Look at how young we look. It also nominates the New South Wales Police Force and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to follow its lead. Naturally, that's happened. New South Wales Police had this today, sharing our first profile picture from 2010, posted almost exactly to this day 5 years ago. Well, here's a selection of terms being searched on Google across Australia at the moment. Now to some other items that have been generating interest online. And now the dashcam video that's made a US policeman an unlikely viral star. Jeff Davis has been captured lip-syncing to Taylor Swift's hit Shake It Off. The Dover Police Department in Delaware decided to share the clip online. It notes that while reviewing dashcam footage, we came across some interesting sights, to say the least.
I'm dancing on my own, dancing on my own. Make the moves so fast I go, so fast I go. And that's what they don't know. That's what they don't know.
Now, of course, when people walk by, Officer Davis adopts a more serious expression.
Cause the players gonna play, and the haters gonna hate, baby. I'm just gonna shake, shake it off, shake it off.
The clip's had more than 13 million views on YouTube since Friday, and it appears to have the stamp of approval from Taylor Swift. This was her tweet in response. LOL, the sass, a reference to the cheek of it.